everybody. Welcome in. It is time for your favorite. It's my favorite. It's everybody's favorite. Three Guys Before the Game. This is episode number 618. It is our recap of West Virginia and Cincinnati, our preview of the matchup on Saturday with the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. Senator and I are here, and Kercheval again has located himself in his broadcast tomb studios. He has a wonderful job on those walls behind him, hasn't he?
Looks good.
Good look. It's a good look. Let's get this thing. There he is.
I think he's trying to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably should put his volume up. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's a good thing it's kind of blurred out, probably.
Yes, story of our lives, isn't it? Three Guys Before the Game. We're ready to do this thing. It's brought to us by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They will not, I repeat, will not take no for an answer. Trust me on that one. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By GoMart. Get a GoMart rewards card. Go to GoMart.com for details. Talk about that later. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Got those Lou Wendell ice clippers out there right now, breaking the ice up.
Almost done.
Yeah, almost, but they're out there busting ice right now. Three Guys brought to us by Tutor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. They'll provide us with spreads on stats. All right, let's jump on in. I'll give you a little bit of a preface to the podcast. A couple of things that you're absolutely not supposed to do when you're broadcasting.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. One is eat before you go on the air.
I saw you guys. You guys were just killing candy. I mean, what were you doing?
Two, if you
Handfuls.
do eat something before the game, make sure that it's not anything to do with peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You both were just like handfuls.
What we
shuffling
were
it.
doing was we were destroying this bag of peanut M&Ms, and there's a couple of reasons. We might as well come totally clean.
I wish you would.
Brad and I have an addiction issue,
Oh,
and the addiction is peanut M&Ms, and now we've got a bigger problem. We've got a dealer.
Supplier.
We got a supplier. We got a dealer.
Hey, the first ones are free.
Yeah, well,
You know.
we got a pusher. We got a pusher from here in Morgantown. Hey, Jake, put that picture up I just sent you. That gentleman in the middle is John Lucas, and he is a wonderful fan, great guy, and he's also become our de facto peanut M&Ms dealer. He just comes to our broadcast table before games, and he just smacks them down. Here you go, fellas. And love John. Probably should not have eaten these before we went on the air. So we're going to cough, hack, spit, and do all kinds of stuff.
Well, double problem. He used to just bring you one, and then I'd just take half of yours. Now I'm in. He's bringing me my own bag, so we got a whole nother bag over here when we finish that.
Yeah.
Number 3, I didn't even tell you this because I didn't include you. My buddy Jeff Arnett comes down the stands last night at halftime.
Right.
Reaches over with a big giant pack of M&Ms, hands me M&Ms at halftime, says here for the second half.
I know.
Here's what I don't understand about you guys and the peanut M&Ms. I like peanut M&Ms as much as anybody, but when I get a bag, lay them out, eat one, eat a green one, eat a brown one,
Eat one.
Eat one.
eat a blue one. You guys just have handfuls. You're
Yes.
just shuffling.
They're not as
handfuls.
good one at a time. I can just confirm that.
Oh, I disagree with
Need
that.
them 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10, 12 at a time.
You get a lot more diversity in your bite when you have a bunch of them exploding in your mouth.
If it's a bag, if it's one of the bags, the package, just drink it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he got these at GoMart too, by the way. I'm sure
No
that
question he
John
gets-
got his at GoMart. I'm sure Jeff did as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's get down to it.
All right, jumping on in, West Virginia 62, Cincinnati 59. There are a lot of things that you can say about the game. One of those is this. It will forever be memorable.
Oh,
It will forever be memorable. I mean, you'll see a lot of three-point games in your life, but never the way the thing got to 3 like this one got to 3. Bad news, good news. I'll do the bad news. If Cincinnati would have hit the 3 at the horn to send it to overtime, and then if West Virginia lost the game, it would go down without question as one of the top 5 losses ever. Ever. Because you were at the foul line with 17 seconds to go, up 9.
I know, but you can run it down because I think there was 8 seconds left. You were still up 9.
You're correct. There was. It was 8 seconds. He hit one at 8 and he hit one at 5.
Yeah.
So, holy potato sticks. That was an almost. But guess what?
Had him all the way.
But guess what? Doesn't matter. It's not gymnastics and it's not figure skating. They don't judge you with ratings and style points. It's like, what's the number? 62.59. You get the W. You learn from that. Every single one of those kids on that Mountaineer team will forever have that in their head, and they'll play it down to the horn. But that was something that we'll remember. But forget about that.
Well, hold on. Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Because some people do kind of count that stuff there at the end. A couple people, Hop, that maybe look at that.
So Scott Van Pelt.
It'll forever live on bad beats.
He did a special.
I know.
Like normally he does it on Monday. He did it last night.
Yes.
He did it last night. One of the all-time great gacks.
Here's why. Line closed, West Virginia -3.5. Game ends 3. It was at 2.5 for a little bit. So, Hop, what do we always say when I used to do game within the game? I always said shop around, make sure you get the best number. Number matters. But I'll go further. Okay. I don't know if Mr. Van Pelt had this in his little breakdown of this game. So those folks that had -3.5 West Virginia beside themselves, people that had +3.5 Cincinnati, giddy. And then the numbers, whatever side you're on. There was also a miss at 9:25 on the clock.
Yeah.
Mitchell from Cincinnati hits an apparent 3. Toe is on the line. I watched it again this morning. Toe's on the line. The TV announcer, Fran, says, well, they're not going to stop the game now. Don't want to slow it down. They'll come over and check this for review. This will be corrected to a 2. They had a great shot of it. His foot's it's on the line. They came over, checked the review, Tony, and left it. Unless they were looking at another play and never reviewed that one, which is possible. Don't know exactly which one they were reviewing, but it was shortly thereafter came over and looked. So really, it should have been a 4-point win, which then cashes every West Virginia number that you had. So if you were playing around in that world, you had an interesting last few minutes of that game.
Yeah. So a lot to get into, and we'll talk about that. Plus, we'll preview Texas Tech. Time now for Hoppy's obvious observations. And again, they continue to be sponsored by absolutely no one.
No sponsorship.
None whatsoever. Obviously, there's no sponsor.
No.
Which is obvious since you don't say anything.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Keep coming with the content. I brought to you as a public service. That's for you guys.
Nice of you.
Tony, as you said, memorable, but not nearly as memorable as it could have been, which would have been disastrous, right? I mean, up 9 with 10 seconds to go, and they make a couple of threes. So it could have been, it would have been disastrous. But, and I know what Brad's going to say, what you're going to say, and what Coach DeVries said, but you don't apologize. You take it and you move on. You got the win.
Don't apologize or qualify it.
Never.
Right.
Win.
Got
Thanks.
Win. Got the win. And this was, breaks tend to even themselves out. And we have talked over the last couple of games about not getting breaks and not getting to the free throw line. And you got a couple of breaks here. I mean, most notably at the free throw line where you were 12 of 14. So you got there enough and made your shots. And they only got there 7 times and only made 2. So you got a break there. And you got a break when Betsy missed the shot at the gun there. So you got a couple of breaks in that game. I was really glad to see JP get back on track. 12 points, I think had a couple of threes, 9 rebounds. So he was a factor. He was a big factor in that game. So you got the win. You're still steady at 9, 10, or 11 seed. Ken Palm still now has you at 46. So you're fine. You know, you needed a win. You got to win. Okay, it was a little bit shaky at the end, but you got it, and now you catch a Texas Tech team coming off a disappointing loss at TCU, and more on that later. So,
very nice, Hoppy. Those are all very obvious, which is exactly why we do that segment.
I might take umbrage with his word, got a break. I don't know if you got a break. I mean, I think the officials just lined up, did their job, called the game. I don't know, you got a break. Foul on them, they called it. Okay. Foul on West Virginia, they called it. There just weren't as many. Well, I don't know if it was a break. Just did their job.
So, you know what? I went back and listened to the game. You watched the game. I went back and listened to the game today. And it didn't hit me at the moment, but Cincinnati's free throw shooting, Dylan Mitchell missed 2. Mm-hmm. He's a poor free throw shooter. He's below 50%. Bandego, there was a sequence where Bandego made 1 out of 2, and a very short snippet later, maybe a possession or 2 later, Mitchell misses 2. And those are little things that happen in the flight of a game which can take a lead from 6 to 8, make it 3 possessions, and then you're just climbing up that hill. But those are the things that determine it. Man, they have got to be throwing up. They're looking at that final box. They went 2 of 7. Mm-hmm. So one thing, you're screaming your head off going, we only got 7 foul shots. And then you only made 2, which is similar to West Virginia, because in West Virginia's last 6 games prior to last night, Mountaineers were shooting 59% from the free throw line. 59%. So despite the fact that they're getting absolutely proportionately crushed by not getting enough shots, they weren't making the ones that they were getting. And that's the Cincinnati story in this game.
Yeah, so again, not a break. You know what that was? That's one of the bottom 25 teams in America in free throw shooting percentage in Cincinnati. They did what they do. They missed free throws. What had not happened in the previous 7 games is opponents that were bad free throw shooters weren't missing. Right. TCU, also one of the worst 25 teams, they made 86% or 88% or whatever the heck they made. That was the difference. West Virginia, I actually have it previous 7 games, West Virginia was 61% from the line. Its opponents were 81% in those 7 games. I mentioned West Virginia had scored 47 points at the line compared to 101 for its opponents in the previous 7. And this flipped. You were plus 10 points at the free throw line in a game that came down to 3 points. Should have been 4 points. You think that stuff matters? Hop, you wonder why I get on here and scream about that stuff matters? Here's the other thing. West Virginia's been called for more fouls than its opponent in every single road game. It's only been called for more fouls than its opponents in half of its home games. So that matters as well. West Virginia was home. I really did. Not just because West Virginia came out on the right side of those numbers. I thought that game was pretty well officiated. Maybe a couple misses here or there, but we say that all the time. There are those things. I thought stuff that impeded play got called pretty correctly for the most part. I thought review-wise, they probably were on it as well as you could be on it based on what you were seeing. That was a pretty well officiated game.
Mm-hmm. What do you think Texas Tech is saying after going to TCU and going 5 of 8 from the free throw line, and TCU goes 15 of 22 at TCU?
I know. It is kind of wild, and we look at it from the West Virginia perspective where it's been extreme against West Virginia. Last night it was extremely fortunate for West Virginia, but that just doesn't happen in West Virginia games. If you start flipping through box scores on a regular basis, I mean, lots of times there is not a whole lot of symmetry. I think everyone would be content if there was symmetry, pretty even numbers on attempts. But for whatever reasons, it doesn't happen like that. And when you have a night where you only take 7 of them, it makes you lose your mind.
West Virginia had 31 shots at the rim or in the paint. They had 22 shots at the rim. This game really probably should have been a double-digit win. West Virginia missed a lot of shots right at the rim. In fact, they were just 11 of 22 in those senses. But 22 shots at the rim. Cincinnati just had 9 shots at the rim. So when I give you those numbers, that's always one that you would think, if I just gave you those, Hoppy, you would say, right. I'm guessing West Virginia shot more free throws, right? They did. Those numbers played out. Fair. My point on the previous 7 games for the most part is those numbers haven't bared out. West Virginia has had those more shots in the rim or in the paint where there's contact, didn't get the free throws. They got it last night. And you took advantage of it. You went to the line and made shots. I thought that was massive. And here's the other thing. Javon is just really, really good. And I think it can't be understated that you won that game last night going about 16 minutes of game time without Javon getting a point. He was fallen coming off a screen. Dan Skillings fell on him, not intentionally, but got hung up in the screen, fell on the back of Javon's leg, and Javon felt the contact, went up for the shot. No call, and Javon was noticeably limping after that and went a big stretch where he wasn't the same. He couldn't cut. He couldn't explode. He wasn't the same offensive player, and you found a way to bridge that, stay in the game, and keep it close enough that then at the end, and we identified it on the radio broadcast, it was time for him to take over. And he either just sucked it up or fought through the pain and just said, we're clearing out. I'm taking the ball, and I'm going to close this game out.
They probably gave him a couple aspirin at halftime. Don't you think they gave him a couple?
Yeah, ibuprofen probably kicked in.
Two ibuprofen, and probably off he went to the races there. But you're right. He started to cut again. Yeah.
There was also a stretch where not just Javon, but nobody was scoring.
Long chunks.
A stretch.
Long chunk, and you went in that chunk, there was a 17-minute gap of game time where you didn't hit a 3, which is usually the death knell for West Virginia. And it found a way to keep it close, and then it was a gutty win. And I'll say, here's another thing I'll say, guys. You've got an elite coach that does X's and O's here. We've been saying it since June. You got an elite X and O guy, and he gets great looks, and he runs that offense, and he's able to do some things. And at the end, when they had the advantage and put a 2-man game in place with Javon, they cannot guard him. There isn't anybody in the league that can guard him face up in a 2-man game, and Javon took that game over, number one. Number two, and I'll get into some of these numbers and spreads on stats, but the way West Virginia's managed and massaged and flipped its offense over the last 7 games is a real testament to the X's and O's and to the ability for these guys to execute and doing things differently, not just relying on threes, but bringing the defense out and then just backdooring the heck out of you. And when Darren makes those sets with Javon, and you know they're going to overplay, and they run a Jonathan Powell or a Toby along the baseline and try and cut him backdoor, and if it's there, you got a layup. And if it's not, he runs all the way through and takes his defender with him, and it opens that side of the floor, and they're overplaying Javon, and they don't realize they don't have help defenders behind him, and Javon cuts and goes backdoor, and you hit him for a pass. They did that like 3 times last night. It's there. So the X and O acumen here that you bring into every game has really been big and fun to watch.
Franny Fraschilla, who was in for the game, and you alluded to him, wrote a tweet afterward, said that Darren was a young John Beilein with his play creativity. There's a lot of similarities.
Welcome aboard, Fran.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities into basically you're playing basketball, right? You're taking number advantages, and you're working. I thought if you go back to the post-game interviews, Amani Hansberry did a pretty nice job of detailing exactly what they're looking at on their reads. Talked about front side pressure, backside pressure, what's going to be there, what's not going to be there. So like they've got these guys wired in to exactly how we want to play that. Then it ultimately comes down to making shots, but they're getting shots. And as a staff, all you can do is put your guys in position to get the ball up and get good looks. And then basketball is basketball. Some nights you're going to make, some nights you're not going to make. But they're doing a fantastic job of getting looks.
The way they've transformed Sincere Harris and his ability to accept the role for the most part and get to the basket last night, he's become a threat offensively in getting it to the basket, which he can do, and not standing out around the three-point line where teams are sagging off him. That's been huge. And while we're here and while you mentioned it, we've got to talk about Amani Hansberry. He flipped the game, guys. He flat flipped the game and took it over and was absolutely elite down the stretch in the final 6-13.
You think we give him our man of the match?
He gets man of the match. I mean, he was great. He had an offensive rebound. Sincere drives in, misses a layup. Amani misses the tip in, but fights and gets the rebound and kicks it out to JP, who hits a 3 to make it 47-46. And then, this is a podcast, right? There's no time limit?
No, we're live, though.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Hop, bear with me here. We're going through this.
Got it, listening.
All right, so that's at 6:13.
Is this spreads on stats?
No, it's not, but there are some numbers involved, but it's not spreads on stats. So that's at 6:13. JP hits the 3 off the Amani offensive rebound, 47-46. Cincinnati comes in the ensuing possession. Buck is right up on him. Pressure defense causes problems. Jizzle James was so excited to get the ball out of his hands and over the court, he forgot to advance his body over the court. They get whistled for an over and back. Javon goes to the basket on the ensuing possession. He's fouled, makes 2, 48-47. Is that right? Yeah, 48-47 West Virginia. They were down 1 after the JP 3. Day Thomas comes back the other way, misses a 3. West Virginia comes back the other way. Amani, another offensive rebound, but Javon gets his shot blocked. It goes the other way. Cincinnati misses. Amani on the ensuing possession, another offensive rebound. He's fouled by Bandego, goes to the line, makes 2 free throws. That puts a lid on a 9-0 run by West Virginia. Now they're up 50-47. James comes back and scores from Cincinnati. West Virginia comes back the other way. Amani pick and pop, drains a 3, 53-50 West Virginia. Go the other way. Amani, defensive rebound. Come back the other way. In the ensuing offensive possession, Amani with a kick out to JP for another 3. 56-50. Go back the other way. That's where Amani fought those two guys from Cincinnati for the defensive rebound. Ball goes out of bounds. Whistle, West Virginia's ball. They go to the review monitor. Not enough to overturn. Stays West Virginia's ball. They come back the other way. Amani gets a one-on-one in the lane. He backs the defender down, scores the layup 58-50. That's an unbelievable run right there. What did I say? 3 offensive rebounds, a defensive rebound, 2 assists, a 3, and a layup.
That's why he's the man of the match.
Ball game.
He's got 24 rebounds in the last 2 games. 13 last night. He had 11 against Baylor. And again, he's certainly an undersized 5. He's a power forward with no true, when Andre's not out there, no true center. So, yeah, absolutely. Keep in mind, he's just a baby. He's a sophomore. And happy for him. Happy for him. 3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by our friends at GoMart. You know, this time of year, people don't sleep as well as they probably should. They need to be energized. They need to be caffeinated. Listen to this special at GoMart. You with me?
Listening.
Sure.
Here we go. GoMart reward members, get the app, put it on your phone. You can get your favorite Starbucks drinks. You can get the double shot and get the Frappuccino or the triple shot. You get 2 of those. I said 2 of those for $7 American dollars, but that's not all. Registered members to have the app get access to even more deals. How about this? 2 for $10 Jack Links, $3.99 Lay's potato chips. Not a member? Don't be left out. Sign up today. Get the app. Go to their website or just go to wherever you get your apps and get the GoMart app. Thanks to GoMart for keeping West Virginia awake. What do you think of that? It's pretty good.
Good deal.
And they're concerned about awakeness, so they want people to stay up. You ready for spreads on stats?
Yeah. Anything else to add? Hoppy, anything?
Just that you really needed that one, obviously, and it would have been devastating if you hadn't gotten it. Now, you're in good shape. You're fine. You're fine. Got the win. Go on the road. Take your chances. Come back home. Get a couple more wins.
Holding it a 10 seed on Bracket Matrix.
Legitimate 10, or is it a 9+ something?
No, it's now 10. It's like a 10.1. So you're a 10 seed. That's as of yesterday, though. That doesn't count the win from last night. Does that bump you? It probably doesn't bump you a full seed line, but it might reduce it down into the 9. Still, if you look across their matrix there, you're included in every single bracket projection that they do. There's not one that has you out right now. Now, again, you still need wins, but you're still hanging right there. We're clipping off games. You're down the final 2 weeks of the season. You're still solidly in the field. Keep coming.
Ken Palm has you finishing 9-11 in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't.
But he's got it projected 9-11, but has you with 3 more wins, or did as of the other day.
Okay.
I'll look right now.
All right, let's do this thing.
So I checked the numbers.
We're really going to go inside now. It's time for calculus. That was just like warm-up algebra. Now we're going calculus. It spreads on stats, brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. What do? Well, they're a full-service public accounting firm located here in West Virginia. Have clients literally all over the state, all 55 counties here in our state. And they are fantastic at what they do. They will obviously do the regular stuff as far as taxes and things of that nature, but full auditing and consultation with businesses. Been doing it now for 40 years. 40 years, and they have the greatest sign of all, and that's standing the test of time. Kind of like Kirchhoff. Like Kirchhoff stood the test of time, so has Conley CPA Group. They've stood the test of time. So if you've been thinking about some help when it comes to your business, if you are outsourcing your accounting or considering outsourcing your accounting, call my guy Mike over there at Conley CPA Group. Just get on the phone. Say, I want to talk to Mike.
He'll take care of it.
I'm a 3 Guys listener. Hey, Mike, tell me about this accounting that you guys can outsource, or talk about your CFO services that you guys can outsource. Be a pretty good deal. And it is. Brought to us by Conley CPA Group. Did you have any aha moments?
One second real quick to answer your Ken Pomeroy, kenpalm.com question. Yeah, projected 9-11, 2 more wins over TCU and UCF. He's flipped the Utah projection. After their win earlier in the week, that now is projected as a 1-point West Virginia loss. So, coin flip game there.
Think about that, though. Think about where this team is, and think about before the season began. If somebody had said to you, this is where this team will be in late February, without Tucker DeVries. You wouldn't have. You said you're full of it. You're
unfathomable.
We're still not talking about it enough. I know we've mentioned it almost every podcast. We're not talking about it enough. It's an unbelievable job by this staff and these players to be in this position with 2 weeks remaining with no Tucker. It's absolutely amazing. You took a 50% three-point shooter out of the lineup. He was at 48% from 3 when he came out of the lineup, coming off a game in which he'd made 8 threes against a top 25 team. You took that out of the lineup, and that's only one thing he does, not the 100 others that he helps his team. Took him off, and you're still pushing for an NCAA tournament bid. Simply remarkable, and I know how they do Coach of the Year. I get it. I understand all that. I also understand we're biased. I understand all that. This is as good a coaching job as there's been in the country this year.
Do me a favor. Take these.
And
Just put them over to the other side.
No.
Throw them over there where Hoppy says.
Nope. Put them down on the
floor.
They're
killing me. I can't keep them away.
Put them on the floor. I'm not doing your bidding.
Speaking of coaching jobs, Bill Self has got to be pulling his hair out. I mean, what is happening with them? They got beat 30 the other day. They're turning the ball over. They are. In terms of Kansas, I mean, they'll still make the tournament. They're still very good, but it's a disaster by Kansas standards, right?
Think of this. They were preseason number 1 in the world. They weren't preseason number 1 in the Big 12. They were the preseason number 1 team in the nation. They're going to be 10-10 probably in conference play. It is one of the great – if West Virginia is one of the great stories of this isn't supposed to happen, Kansas is on the other side. That wasn't supposed to happen.
What they had the other night, the largest loss by an AP-ranked team in history, in the history of the world.
Like 32? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
32 points? 30.
Well, also, do we need to have preseason polls anymore? I mean, what are we doing? How do you know? It's always been a how do you know? How do you know now? Those are absolutely meaningless at this point. Whatever. Don't care about them.
For the record,
figure it out.
I'm closing the bag.
We're busy over here, Kirchville, with our own stuff. Figure it out, Kansas.
For the record,
I'm not worried about what you're doing. Lose every game, don't care.
I know. I just thought it's remarkable. I think it
is remarkable.
We also like stories.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a story.
Although I would like them selfishly for West Virginia's perspective, get your stuff together, Kansas.
Get it together because it looks better for you.
Right.
Yeah, because you've been.
For the record,
you got back into the peanut M&Ms?
I threw the bag away. I threw it on the floor now.
What are you doing? We're doing the broadcast.
I understand, Hoppy. Listen, I don't have it like you. I don't get up, have a prune juice smoothie. Don't get be able to have fresh fruit brought to me. Someone putting grapes in my mouth. Don't have that. Haven't eaten all day. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. I haven't eaten anything.
Whose fault is it that you haven't eaten all day? Whose fault is that?
I don't think there's any fault, Hoppy. I had things to do.
I don't know why you always have to blame somebody, Kirchville.
You damn talk show host, always attacking people. All right, what do we got?
Well, here's something that jumped out. We went through a bunch of the key points right there, so that's the bulk of the numbers. But here's something that got me, and I dug into this because of that possession early in the game, and we remarked about it on the broadcast. It should be on instructional videos about moving the basketball and making the extra pass that you hear a lot about, Hoppy. You hear the extra pass, and you pass up a good shot for a great shot. That happened yesterday as West Virginia whipped it all the way around the horn, and it ended in, Tony, was it a Javon 3 that was the end result?
I think it was.
I think it was Javon 3 open from the right wing, knocked it down. It was just a beautiful display.
Beautiful basketball.
Really was. So I dug into the catch and shoot numbers for West Virginia last night, and then I went back into the Big 12 season. So they had 16 catch and shoot jumpers. That's what that was. You swing it around, you catch, shoot. 10 of those were unguarded. 10 of your 16 were unguarded.
Wow.
So again, the more unguarded you get, the better your chances of making those are, right? You've had double-digit unguarded catch and shoots in 4 of the last 5 games. Double-digit unguarded, 4 of the last 5 games. Pretty good. Which is why when we come in here, we said, can there not be a couple more wins in there? You were getting the looks you wanted. But here's what caught me. So double-digit unguarded catch and shoots in 4 of the last 5 games. You had double-digit unguarded catch and shoots in only 2 of the previous 9 Big 12 games. Okay, so what has happened? I alluded to this a little bit ago. Offense has adjusted to defenses. After the start of the Big 12 play, after you're coming off the Bahamas where you were killing people from 3, defenses started saying what? Okay, well, we're not going to let you stand out there and shoot, right? And West Virginia was in that low 50% mark of how many threes you take as a percentage of your total shots. And teams said, show me you can put it on the ground. Show me you can get by. Do something else. And West Virginia, the staff put it together, and the players, okay, is that right? Is that right? Yeah, here's what we're going to do. Now come on out and now we're just going to start backdooring you, and we're going to cut to the basket and get open. So as teams were running West Virginia off the three-point line, the motion offense increased, the back cuts increased, ball movement led to more open looks. It's resulted in West Virginia having double-digit points off of cuts to the basket in 7 of its last 8 games. Okay? Prior to that, West Virginia had only hit double-digit points in a game twice in 18 games to start the season with cuts to the baskets and feeds. So it was depending on three-pointers early and making them for success. The defense adjusted, West Virginia adjusted. That's some really good coaching, right? They counter you, and you didn't just go, oh, well, okay, now we're done. That's all we can do. Adjusted, said, fine, we'll start cutting to the basket too. And what do those open layups then create? Revert back to now you've got some open threes. So that struck me as some really interesting numbers there if you want the cat and mouse game that goes on at a really high level with really high coaches across this league, right? Everybody's getting paid a lot of money to beat you, and there's a lot of these guys that really know what they're doing, and that's kind of the cat and mouse game that goes on.
Yeah. You're at calculus level now because teams are seeing each other. For example, last night, Cincinnati, that was the second time, right? So you've seen what they want to do. They've seen what you want to do. Now you really have to go digging in there because otherwise, as Darren said post-game last night, otherwise people are just sitting on your stuff. They know exactly where it's going. And if you don't modify this time of the year, you just have horrific-looking possessions because they blow everything up.
Yeah, I thought last night, again, West Virginia held Cincinnati's lob game in check. It was almost a replay of the first game. None in the first half of either meeting. 2 in the second half of both meetings. So it was almost identical. West Virginia did a really good job eliminating that. West Virginia did a good job on Jizzle James last night. You didn't hold him to 0 points, which would have been virtually impossible given the heater he was on. He was on a historic heater. It's like the second, ESPN had this graphic, second player in NCAA history to average 24 or more points a game while shooting 55% from the field over a 4-game stretch, which he had been in. Yeah. I mean, he'd been on a historic run. And West Virginia, again, made it difficult on him last night.
Well, Sincere Harris, largely. He goes 6 for 20, 1 for 8. And that took him 20 shots to get 13 points. Prior to last night, he had played West Virginia 4 times, had never had a double-figure game. So I don't think he's going to get any Mountaineer gear at any time soon. I don't think he likes the world champion Mountaineers.
No, Sincere did a really nice job. And speaking of that West Virginia defense, here's a catch-and-shoot number. Cincinnati had 13 catch and shoots. Only 4 of them were unguarded.
So
this continues to be, we say you are what you are by this time of year. This is an elite defensive team in West Virginia. And they make it difficult on teams to shoot, and they just don't leave you open shots very often. 4 unguarded catch and shoots turned into just 6 points. Really well done.
Yeah.
That's the bulk of it.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty interesting stuff, huh?
Yeah,
it is, and it's especially since how many times when you're watching games, all games, when the shot clock is winding down and you see that the offense doesn't have anything, the defense doesn't, there's nothing there, right? And somebody does a desperation shot. And I think West Virginia uses the clock really well when they want to run clock, and you think, no, they're working on something here. It's not just desperate; they're working on something, and get a good shot late in the clock. And also, the longer you can control the ball and make the extra passes, the defense might make a mistake. It's not just about you making a mistake. Defense might make a mistake, right?
Well, that's one of the core tenets here is running clock, because you're doing 2 things. One, yes, what you're saying, make the other team guard you for longer, chances of a breakdown increase. Number 2, just shortening the game. You're just when you struggle to score at times, as West Virginia does, you want fewer possessions. You're a really good defensive team. So shrink those possessions, theoretically keep that game close and take it at the end. We outlined against Baylor, Hop, last broadcast how many points West Virginia got in the final 4 seconds of the shot clock. This was, I didn't say it on air, but I kept thinking it, and man, I was nervous, and I'll say it now. That was one of those, that had the look based on what Cincinnati was doing, and Darren had talked about this. West Virginia made a lot of shots late in the shot clock at Cincinnati, and it helped you get the win. That was the reverse last night. I don't know how you escape given what they did. The number in my super fancy analytic machine, I don't think was right. I had down they made 5 shots in the final 4 seconds of the shot clock last night. Okay, that's not what the number showed me, but I was logging that during the game. I mean, they were banking in stuff They were making a lot in the final few seconds, and that's generally a sign that you're not going to get the win. So put that in the column of things that West Virginia did and was gritty and gutty about that usually ends up the other way.
Prisoner of recency bias here, but that to me is the biggest game this year that looked like a loss, but you won. Now, there are a lot of those where you look at the numbers midway through the second half and you go like, this isn't happening. And last night we came back out of a break. It was like 11 minutes, I want to say, and the numbers were saying you're not going to win. You're getting outshot. You're not guarding. Just were some certain numbers that went like, these do not look good. And so they were able to, despite those numbers. So to me, that's why this is a really, really important win for them.
Which, again, Hoppy, you said it earlier, the breaks usually even out or you hope they come at least close. And I think that this was probably one of those. There's been some other games where we've come in here and said, can you believe the numbers and you got a loss on that? What are you talking about? How's that a loss? This was one you probably in some of the categories. But here's one. West Virginia remains undefeated when it out-rebounds the opponent.
That's
like 9-0, 8-0 this season.
I think it's 10 now. Was it 9 going into last night?
That's what Darren said, but I don't know that he had that right. I thought it was a couple less, but regardless. You're undefeated when you out-rebound the opponent, and you did last night.
That's a good bellwether.
Yeah.
Jonathan Powell, 9 rebounds.
In back-to-back games. So well done by him. He's missed some shots here in the last couple games, but finding a way to do some other things that matter and help your team win, he certainly did that.
But he made a couple last night, too.
He did. Big ones. Yeah, big ones. This offense is different. Here, this can go in your obvious observations. This offense is different and better if Amani gets you a couple and JP gets a couple. It just changes the entire look of the thing.
Sure. It's not 1-on-4.
And by the way, one of my favorite sets is becoming Javon to the right side, right wing. You try and double trap him. Amani picks and sets the screen, then pops over mid-top of the key. And Javon gives the right-handed behind-the-back pass to Amani, and then you make a three. That's nice. Becoming my favorite play of the year.
Yeah, you don't see
just smooth.
You don't see the behind-the-back pass often, 1. 2, when you do, it normally doesn't lead to a basket.
Right.
But when you get a behind-the-back pass that leads to a hoop, that's like really good stuff.
You said it last night at one point, just talked about just how Javon's ice, and it just is – you can run everybody at him. He's not going to get hurried. He's not going to make a dumb decision. He's just going to be like, all right, whatever. You want to run everybody? I'll make the play when I'm ready to make the play. I don't care what you're doing. He's throwing a behind-the-back pass out in the open floor off a trap. It's not a fast break, Hoppy, where there's nobody there, and I'm going to give you a little razzle-dazzle behind the back. He's got a trap. He's got 2 big dudes on. He's like, I'm just going to throw it behind the back here. Ice.
He's one of the reasons he's so successful is that he's in constant motion, right? When he has the ball, he does not give those, even on the double, he does not give those guys a very good shot at him because he's always moving. He's got great feet.
And the ultimate compliment to guys, point guards or guys that have the ball is what? They control the game.
Yeah.
He controls the game about as well as anybody I can remember. Nationally, I'm not just talking about here. He just is on his schedule. You'll adjust to his schedule. He will not be bent to what you want him to do.
Yeah. So last night I said he has absolutely zero timidity, which he's you could also say it this way. He's unflappable. And I love athletes, or I guess people in general, that are unflappable despite what's at them, i.e., last night you talk about a trap in the corner, second half near the West Virginia bench. And I'm talking about large human beings trapping him, including, Aziz Bandago, who's 7 feet tall. And like the normal thing you see is people just crumble when they're doubled like that, and they basically turn like a turtle, right? They put everything inside. They stick their head down into their neck, and they no. My guy, he just like sticks his chin through the one crevice of light, sticks it through there, and he finds Jonathan Powell, and he bounces it to him on the other side of the basket. He lays it up and in.
We had the same angle as Javon did, and I didn't see Powell.
No.
You couldn't see him, Hoppy. Where Javon was like right in front. We couldn't see Powell. Like, where's he throwing the ball? Oh, there's Jonathan for a layup. How'd he get it through there?
So yes.
You think Rich could use him in the slot?
Yeah.
He'd be good in the slot.
Yeah. I go back to a couple of guys. Deshaun Butler was like that. He was unflappable. You never saw fear in his face. Joe Mazzulla was unflappable. Joe never looked weirded out.
He didn't.
Right? But there are others, you could see it on their face. They get really uncomfortable and they wither. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying those that don't, that's kind of a supernatural thing because they go against what normal is. And that's what makes them different.
The part that kicks him into a rare air is just he has the ball so darn much. He's the ball handler, right? He has got it in his hands, and he's just getting guys flying. So when he doesn't stick in there and make that pass, I love when he drives in there and they start trapping, he starts pulling it back on him. I go, is that right? Come on, here we go. Come on, back it up with me. Come on, stay with me.
Yeah.
Having a year, man. I know I keep saying it. The TV broadcast finally, again, those guys do a great job. Welcome to the Javon Small fan club. This podcast has been on that for a long, long time. How many times have we said player of the year? Player of the year candidate. I get it. I know he's not going to win the national thing. I know he's probably not going to win the Big 12 because West Virginia's record. He should absolutely be getting votes. He'll be a unanimous selection all Big 12.
Oh, absolutely.
And if he's not, you should lose your vote.
Absolutely.
And should get votes for player of the year. He has been unbelievable.
There's not one coach that has played against him that wouldn't tell you like, whoa, what the heck? So that's the ultimate.
Have a year, buddy.
Yeah, that's the ultimate.
Have a year.
Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. If you or someone that you know is in need of help when it comes to filing for Social Security disability, these are the folks that you absolutely owe yourself to give them a call. It doesn't cost you a single cent to present to them what you have. But the key when you file these cases and put this together is that you've got to have someone right from the very start with you, because only 12% of people that file a Social Security compensation claim, only 12% get approval on their first try. You need someone that does it all of the time. And these folks are those folks. Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They're nationwide, but they're based and founded here in the state of West Virginia. So if something has really, really badly happened, which has taken you out and you need help, whether that might be a heart attack or back issues or things that take you away from being able to work, and you need a Social Security disability claim, go to Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They do it every single day in 48 of our 50 states. I don't know which two they're not in, but they'll be there soon. All right, what do we play Texas Tech next? Is that your preview?
Texas Tech.
Yeah, Saturday,
I'm
that?
just going to give you some highlights here in this one. You were close to an all-time great sandwich spot, look-ahead spot.
Yeah.
Right? Had Texas Tech beaten TCU this week, they'd be coming home, playing West Virginia with Houston on deck, the rematch against Houston in what was really a contentious game. Remember that?
Sure, that was one of the great game. That was the greatest game in the league so far this year.
JT Toppin gets kicked out early for a play. Grant McCaslin goes absolutely bananas, and I don't blame him. He gets tossed, and Texas Tech hangs on to win that game at Houston. So they have Houston on deck 2 days, 48 hours after playing West Virginia. That would have been a great spot, Hoppy. I would have been going into this saying, listen, Texas Tech's outstanding, maybe the best team in this league, but geez, you were gifted a spot here. Maybe you get them looking past you. I don't think they look past. I think that loss refocused Texas Tech. So you're going to get a really good team. Here's what this matchup is. This is one of the elite offensive teams in the country against one of the elite defensive teams in America and West Virginia. So Texas Tech is 11th in offensive efficiency nationally. They're getting a West Virginia defense that's 17th nationally in defense. You're getting the 18th best three-point shooting team in Texas Tech against a West Virginia defense that is 7th nationally in opponent field goal percentage. So can West Virginia limit Texas Tech first and foremost? It's been hard to do that. They are really, really good offensively. The flip side is it's not like Texas Tech doesn't play defense. This is a top 35 defensive team in Texas Tech. They've got everything you want. I mean, this is a legit Final Four contender here. They can score at an elite level, they can guard, and they've got multiple players that can hurt you. This is going to be a challenge to score and get points here and get out of there with a win.
Probably have two NBA guys, right? Toppin and Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably.
And what do we always say?
Can I give you a stat that maybe...
And McMillan's pretty good as well.
Yeah. Go ahead, Hoppy. Sure, absolutely.
Up on that. This is up in Brad's territory, but it's only a one-off. But in that loss to TCU, again, the difference was at the foul line. But Texas Tech had 13 turnovers that led to 17 points. So West Virginia's defense, can you create? You got to get some points off turnovers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you get something there?
Yeah,
Nope.
that's an aberration because they don't turn it over a whole lot normally.
So that was just a one-off.
It could be.
Defense travels. That's what you're banking on.
Mm-hmm.
Defense travels. You got to guard. You're right. It's not. It could have been so much better situationally if they had lost to TCU. So they're going to be PO'd. They're mad they lost, and so yeah, it diffuses the potential of them looking ahead to the Houston game. But still, you go in there and you just take a swing.
You take your shot, and it's an early start. It's an 11 a.m. local. Can that maybe lower the temperature of the crowd, right? It's 11 a.m. start?
12, I think, isn't it?
I
Is
thought
it
it was
1 o'clock here?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock.
Yes, that's
12,
right.
1.
Yeah. 12 local.
Central, Eastern, Pacific.
Whatever. What time zone are we in?
Whatever it is.
Where are we going?
What
It's
was the deal with the time last night?
Excuse me?
It was listed as a 6 o'clock Eastern tip,
No.
wasn't? 6 o'clock.
If you were in the Central time, it would have showed up as 6. If you were looking at on a phone.
So he's in the Central Time Zone. See, there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
So the phone adjusts on its own to Central Time. Kirchhoff didn't adjust himself that he's in Central Time. It does create confusion. I get it, Hop. I understand.
He's got 6 watches on.
Just put ET after it. Just put it in ET.
Wasn't there something, and Hoppy, you don't follow it anymore since you're retired,
What's
but I
that?
think something in the legislature where they're trying to make West Virginia time like not change the clocks. I just saw that this morning.
I think I think what they're doing is that they're going back to sundial. Is what I understand they're doing in West Virginia.
Yeah, well, whatever. A lot of things going on there. But anyway,
So big challenge this weekend. Go get it. Stay hot. Keep coming.
yeah. 3 guys before the game is brought to us. By the way, last night, key moment of the game, and pressure's on, stress is on, teams are hot, right? So, energy's wearing down. Mountaineers take timeout. I could have sworn, not sure, that there was a Comax Business Systems, one of those new water machines that I was talking about out there, and they were hydrating the Mountaineers. Maybe I'm wrong, not sure, but if you're a business owner, you got to get one of those bad boys. Why do you want to lug in all those big bottles of water, plastic bottle, 5-gallon jugs, or just take the little bottles of water? Who needs it? Get yourself a nice machine. Comax Business Systems has those. And what you get is brand new, crisp water, promoting hydration. You get ice. You get the whole deal. If you're a business person, you're saying, I'm sick and tired of buying water. You don't have to do it. It's clean. It's filtered. It's perfect. Visit Comax Business Systems at comaxwv.com. Can I say one more thing about water?
Sure.
Sure.
It's only a matter of time before we're in the water. With boating season right around the corner, forget about these cold days we've been having. You can say what you want about being cold. This is what I know. There's only 8 more days as we record in February, which means then it's March. And then you know what that means?
April's next.
Bing, bing, bing.
Put the boat in.
Yeah, put the boat down in the water. Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they've got it all, and they've been in business. I mentioned that Conley's been in business for 40. These old boys are in the business for their 50th year. Lou Wendell Marine Sales, located in St. Albans, the premier pontoon boat dealer in our state. They've got pontoons made by Avalon, manufactured right here in the United States, out of Michigan, and they've been with them forever and ever. They're a fantastic pontoon boat, and also those G3 John boats. But, well, there's the Avalons there if you're watching on our YouTube stream or on Metro News TV. Just dandies. I mean, you just, even though there's not water in the showroom, you just want to go in there and sit down. You just want to go in there and sit inside that boat.
Take a nap right there in that recliner.
Just absolutely.
That front end recliner.
And you can get a good spine bend on one of those. You just kind of hook right in there, and they got everything in there. Anything and everything that you need when it comes to your boating, they got it. LouWendellMarineSales.com. All right. Outstanding work. You guys ready for healing?
Yes.
Let's roll. Although no healing needed today.
No, this is kind of like this is like reinforcement of good feel stuff.
Yeah.
We've done some things of late, and let's share it with Textual Healing. Textual Healing is brought to us by episode800.com. That's where you can hit with us and communicate. We'll take your questions, your comments, your thoughts 304-404-4083. Episode800.com. Also our portal. Wherever stuff you see us wearing, well, neither of us got anything on today, but all of our apparel, our coffee from Mountaineer Roasting, and that popcorn from Mountaineer Popcorn, which is just terrific. Speaking of that, how about this? Thank you, three guys, for a special day. We made the trip to the WV women's game from Greenbrier County. So what happened here, Homeless Dave has those season tickets on the floor.
Right, for women's games?
Yeah, and we give them away occasionally to folks. And so these folks won the tickets. They came up to the women's game. We grabbed a few friends to tag along, Girls' Day. We made sure to fill up on gas and snacks at GoMart.
Well done.
In honor of you guys. The girls giggled and squealed through the day, having the, quote, best day ever.
Oh,
Take a look at some of these pics here. These guys had a big time. So there we are at the ball contest. And there you go. Look how good those seats are.
Yeah, the seats are right. Yeah, they're down on the floor.
Those seats are the floor seats. So she had a big time there. That's pretty good. And then they got
Kaya Watson there.
Yeah, she's a great player. She's a great player. So they got in there and got a little looks like an autograph ball there.
Yeah.
And just a big time had by all.
Is that Jordan Harrison there signing?
My gosh, is she good?
Yeah, she's really good.
Oh my gosh, is she good?
Fun to watch.
Tons of funs to watch. And I think there was one more. Yeah. They got the Mountaineer.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's a big day.
That's awesome. Texter, time to fire everyone at both the Big 12 and ACC for utter incompetence. Let me be in charge. He's mad at the SEC and the Big 10 for trying to make this move. Based on Ross Dellinger's article, he says, we're going to create our own league and our own playoffs separate from the NCAA and everyone else. Few new rules. You don't have to go to class. This is his new league.
Okay.
So this is how you're going to recruit against the Big 10 and the SEC.
Okay.
You come to our league and play. You don't have to go to class. All you have to do is play your sport and get ready to be a pro. We'll have pro contracts, no portal. Every player gets a no trade clause. Teams who choose to stay close to home shouldn't have to worry about being traded across the country. We got no eligibility cap. If you don't get drafted, you just keep playing college sports forever.
Tony rule.
I like that. Basically, you just do a bunch of drastic stuff that the Big Ten and the SEC would never do. That way you get the best talent, fewer financial resources than your competitors. You get the best talent, and the viewers will follow. I realize this would be a long shot, but hell, at least try something. The Big 12 and the ACC got to get told to sit in the corner and be quiet, and they did. Utter incompetence. Signed by JD in the Southern Coalfields. He's mad.
JD not happy.
I like some of your ideas there. This person, remember I had a situation last show. I told someone just use ChatGPT to condense their message.
Right.
Yes.
He wrote in, keeping this at a minimum so I won't be ChatGPT'd, but I hope Tony's beneficent and gracious memory remembers a bad poem from a certain expatriate fellow, and there's 2 tickets in Lubbock available for Andy in Amarillo. So I have no idea what the heck he's talking about, but it looks like he's asking me for 2 tickets at Tech. Is that what your read is?
That's how I would interpret that, yeah.
All right. Andy in Amarillo. I don't know what to do there. Texter, ciao, amici. I'm getting some supplies together to take down to southern West Virginia this Friday. Grazie. Dino in Morgantown. And so what's going on is the folks at Titan Roofing, among others, they are collecting items for donations to folks in southern West Virginia who have been taken, through just tremendous bad circumstances with that flooding last weekend. And this particular event is going to take place at the Suncrest Town Center Friday. And they're asking for all kinds of types of supplies. So if you're in our listening Morgantown-based area and it's before Friday, they're collecting that, then they're going to drive it down. So that would be great.
Really graphic pictures, heartbreaking pictures.
Unbelievable,
on WV Metro News website that Jeff Jenkins and Chris Lawrence have gotten on trips down there to Mingo, McDowell County. Really bad situation. West Virginians once again pulling together to help each other out.
Yeah. Texas says, I looked at Ken Palm's stats for West Virginia over the last 20 years. Surprisingly, many of Huggins' teams had better offensive metrics than defensive numbers due to offensive rebound rate. But the 2020 team, when COVID started, like 25 this year, had a much better defensive rating than offensive. I think that team would have made the tournament, but it did lose 6 of 7 in February and was a bubble before beating Baylor in March. Hopefully we can repeat again and not be stressed out on Selection Sunday. Also, he adds, I know you won't believe this, but I'm pretty sure that West Virginia is winless this season when either of you two say that Coach DeVries is incredulous during your radio broadcast.
Didn't we say it last night?
Causation, correlation?
Yeah.
Not causation. I don't think there's causation.
I think oftentimes if we say he's incredulous, it's because of screwation. I think that's when we normally bring it up. Hey, three guys.
There is a causation there, right? Like screwation equals the coach being very upset.
Yeah, if Darren's all lit up, chances are you're getting the short end of the whistle there. This next texter is very upset that they put camera people underneath the basket. He says that's how Javon Small got hurt and came up limping. Actually, it happened on the floor. He said this, why do we have cameramen there anyway? Does anyone – he says no one likes the under-the-basket view.
Might be strong.
I don't know. He didn't footnote it. I don't know what research he's using on that. Second, those guys with the camera are sitting there on roller desk chairs. This seems about as antiquated as the big roll of duct tape that's attached to the yard marker in football. Sorry for the vent, but players getting hurt as a result of that. Reed in Jersey. Gentlemen, Justin from Clarksburg, listening to Brett and Tony on the call for the Cincinnati game. Tony comes in with the bingo at the 3-minute mark with Powell's three-pointer. Hello, that made my hair stand up. I don't know about the other two goofballs, but Tony, you keep doing you. Appreciate you guys. Let's go.
Why do you attack us?
I don't know.
Why do we get called goofballs randomly in the middle of that text?
I don't know.
That was unnecessary.
It was
Justin.
Do you think we could get a bingo sponsor? Like you think there's a fire hall out here in West Virginia might want to be a 3-guy sponsor or promote their bingo?
Well, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, you're probably
because then in the
fine.
game, when a big shot can say, bingo, brought to you by the Flatwoods Fire Department. Remember, when you have a fire,
don't forget Saturday night starting at 5.
Saturday night starting at 7 o'clock.
Those bingo people, I tell you what, now they're serious as a heart attack.
Big business.
Oh my gosh.
Big business. We had to move our entire Big East schedule that year up in Wheeling because the bingo was so big on Saturday nights. We had to play every game at noon up there.
Those people, man.
Big.
They're like real.
Yeah, big.
And people are really into it. Like if I played bingo, I'd have a card, right? Where's the B6? What? I have like 10, 12 cards.
Oh, easy. Unbelievable.
Oh, really? More than that?
Oh, yeah. People, it's crazy. I mean, that must be a big time. How much can you make playing bingo?
I think you can do all right.
Like, is there that would be a great question.
Well, it depends on who's doing it. I mean, there's the cash prizes vary. I have in-laws that used to play bingo, and they
So I mean, did they make money?
Well, no. What happens is I'm gonna
big generalizations here. Now we're gonna get Big Bingo's gonna get us here in the next text. Here comes Big Bingo.
I tell you what. Just move on. Don't let
here's a legitimate. I don't know if it's legitimate, but here's a stupid question.
Pulled the ball back out. Hoppy was attacking the rim. Just pulled the ball back out.
Here's a stupid question that I have.
Run clock.
I would like to hear from some bingo people or people who know people that play bingo.
Now you've done it.
Just text us. What is the line? 304-404-4083. 304-404-4083. I just want to know, like, if that's profitable. Like, do people do it for entertainment, or do there's a lot of people like, yeah, my friend, he goes down there, he makes about $400 or $500 a month playing bingo. I just do you do it for entertainment, or do you do it to actually get money?
It's like, look, okay, I'm going back to the rim. It is like most gambling, is that you'll go for time after time after time and not win, and then you win, you win big or win something. and then you come back and go, wow, I won $400 at bingo, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of how it goes. I mean, you can go, I think, a couple of times and not win, and you win one big, and then
Tell you
plus they
what,
got side hustles going on.
yeah, I like that parlay side hustle stuff. Tell you what I do. Last time I won big in bingo, took all of the money, all of it, went to Tutor's Biscuit World, just put it right on the counter there, Tutor's, and I said, here, as much as I can get, just load me up. They said, dude.
Is that a down payment for a franchise, or you were just buying some biscuits?
No, they just said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, they said, this is way too much money. I said, what are you talking about? I said, because this month, you buy one and you get one for $1. I said, what are you talking about? And I said, yeah. They said, you can buy the Dottie, the sausage biscuit, the Peppy, or the hash brown. You just buy one, and you get the next one, the second item, for 4 quarters and $1. So put your money away. It's that good. It's that type of a deal, and it's going on right now at all Tutor's Biscuit World locations. And you can also get this. You could get you can get the camo mug that Hoppy absolutely adores, and they'll fill that thing up for you for the price of a coffee or an iced tea. It's a great deal. Tutor's Biscuit World. Start your day the 3 guys way. Texter, that was a roller coaster ending. Wow, that could have been a season-ending loss. Big W on TV. They kept talking about a Cincinnati 3 with a foot on the line around the 10-minute mark in the second half. They ever review it? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think when he came over and reviewed that, Brad, he was looking at Jonathan Powell.
There was no way they were looking at that Mitchell 3, or they would have returned. It wasn't really even particularly close. I'm surprised by that one. That was a big miss.
Holy Cowboys, I can't tell you the emotions I was feeling the last 8 minutes tonight. Jeremy from Cooperstown, New York. And producer Jake, I don't remember putting this picture in, but if you can find this picture, put it in. This is a picture of me and my son Hayes at his very first game in the Coliseum. We drove the 7.5 hours yesterday from upstate New York. Oh, this is awesome. It is there.
Oh, wow.
In good faith, the Mountaineers would provide us with a win. The pick is right before all hell broke loose. Wow is all that I can say. I would like to say we've hit this GoMart on the trip. Dad secured Connection 304 to take back up to New York State, and we've hit Tutors for breakfast. Probably do that again tomorrow before leaving town.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we did not have time for St. Albans and a new Lou Wendell pontoon. Maybe next time, signed by Jeremy in Cooperstown. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. I also...
Attaboy Hayes, way to go get one.
So
way to get the win.
Those guys went 7.5. I met the two boys and their dad before the game. They had just driven up from Princeton. That's 3.5. And I said to him, I said, you guys staying overnight? You going back? He goes, no, we're going back.
Cool.
Wow, man, that's incredible dedication. Incredible dedication.
What was the crowd? The crowd was like 10 something?
They listed it at 10. It wasn't 10.
Okay.
That's tickets sold.
Yeah,
but now it wasn't great. It wasn't great, man. I've been thinking about that too. I don't know what you do. I mean, I completely get why, right? There was early talk of significant bad weather, snow, stuff. It's cold as heck. I get all of that. It's midweek. It's hard for people to get there. I don't know, but I do know this, that it would be tremendous if we could fill that thing up. So I got a stupid thought.
Okay.
Won't be the last. Just let me run it by you really quick.
These usually don't work.
I know.
I mean, you've got a 0-400 record.
I know.
You used to call me all the time when I was in Martin. Did this? It doesn't work.
Okay, so
here it comes.
Okay, and this will get people mad over at the ticket office. The hell with it.
I'm gonna have an M and sit back. I'm not Hoppy. You handle it.
So here's the deal.
I'll take it.
Just follow me though. So people, they're listing 10,000 because those are season tickets sold and all that kind of stuff, right? So if you know you're not going to go to the game, do you think with technology nowadays you could just put them into some kind of you send them back in through a hopper and then people can take them that will use them? And I know that's not a new concept, but is there a better way to do that just to fill seats? My mic still is my mic still on? It's not
Tony,
on anymore.
Let me say this, Tony, that you're an excellent play-by-play man. Excellent podcast host. Stay in your lane, bro.
I'm just trying to get more people in there. This team.
Well, look, it was the weather. It was the weather.
Well, I understand, but I get it. Dude, trust me, I understand why. I'm just wondering if there are people.
What do you think? Other people don't have weather? Like,
No. Believe me. Listen to what I'm saying.
Are you talking about giving the tickets away?
Yeah, I'm not blaming people at all for not coming. They have their reasons, and I totally get that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it would be great if some way others that would be willing to go can get the tickets and just come and use those seats. That's all I'm saying. Just to make more people, put more people in there. That's all I'm saying. My mic working? Is this on, Brad? Can you hear me over there?
Brad is, believe me, when Brad says he's not responding, he's not responding.
Yeah,
so
Texter says, fine-looking Phil outdid himself outfitting the fine-looking broadcasters of tonight's game. Tony, your pocket square held a work of art, and Brad's tie was pretty awesome as well. And the team was pretty awesome too. Happy the pieces finally fell in place for the win. Slid out of the mountains yesterday to return home and had stockpiled the last 5 episodes of Three Guys so that I would be entertained on the way back home. I love the podcast, love the connection to West Virginia signed by our friend MJ in Savannah.
Awesome. Thanks, MJ.
So she took 5 Three Guys down to Savannah with her on the ride.
Awesome.
You guys got a long trip coming up.
Yeah, coming up next week. Yeah. Three Guys during the game.
No, Texas Tech.
No, well, that's Saturday, but that's just a one-off. But then the big one is 5 days in the Utahs.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck, Texas Tech will seem like going to Star City by the time the Utah thing happens. That'll be easy in and out. Texter says, good to see a Mountaineer win. Sometimes working out of town has its advantages. Good to see you, Brad. I love you guys. Signed by Joey B. in Princeton. And he came down there low and got a picture with our backs, and there's Darren speaking to the official. He may have been incredulous at that point. Texter, as the Cincinnati, he writes, Cincinnati starting 5 were getting introduced. I noticed from my seat the players high-fived their coaching staff and then went to the scorer's table to fist bump the 3 referees. They never came across mid-court to shake our waiting coach's hand. Can't help thinking this may be a possible reason why the other team gets all the fouls called their way, just saying. Signed by Donna. So she thinks there's some shenanigans going on there. This is a good one. You know, we often talk about how this podcast is literally global. Hey, Three Guys, I just got to Sydney, Australia, and I cheered on the Mountaineers in big win over Cincinnati before checking the sites down under. Hansberry played outstanding and showed a promising future for the next few years. Also, Coach DeVries runs good stuff.
He does.
This is signed by Pilot Bill from Caledonia, Mississippi, hometown, Oceana, West Virginia, a proud graduate of WVU class of 1990. So he just flew down to Australia and listened to the game down there down under where it was already tomorrow.
Good pick, Bill. Like it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Be well.
He probably knew already what happened in the game because it was the next day.
He just picked up the paper when he got there.
Yeah, there's the Opera House right there.
Yeah. Charlie writes in, good comeback last night. Back to Saturday. One last comment about Baylor. You would think with a new multi-million-dollar facility, they might be able to afford some of those long-handled squeegee mops instead of having some kids out there with towels. About that Oconee slip.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it was. That was.
They were on. I'm surprised they missed that because they were rushing the court every time there was a stoppage of play. In fact, sometimes the play was still going on.
What's a day? No, there's no question. You're right, Hoppy. That ball goes down the other end of the floor. Those kids run out there, man, and they're
hustling. Yeah.
See, I think that'd be a good job for those people like Olympic curling when it's like off season. They could bring those brooms out, right? They just run up that floor and to get that water off better, probably with those curling brooms.
I think they're practicing.
Hey, quick question, Tony and Brad. Is that environment and granted, I don't get out much, but that environment at Waco, is there any other road venue, that is as loud or busy as that?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Kansas, Iowa State, Texas Tech,
So they have all like noise, music, just just pulsing all the time.
Those things, I'm going to sound like a super old guy. Texas used to start, first place I ever heard was Maryland in football. The first time I saw a guy out on the field screaming into a microphone. Texas is just unbearable.
Oh,
like,
really?
Screechy. I know you're laughing over there at me like I'm the old guy, but just like, it wears my ass out, man. Just like, I don't get it.
I just wondered.
You going to give me a no comment on that one too? What? It's all NBA based. I mean, that's what they do in the NBA. It just trickles down.
Yeah.
Just trickles down.
Brad's checked out.
I know. He's giving us a bunch of no comments.
Spent 20 years in these meetings, Hop. Got out so I didn't have to sit in these meetings. Now I'm sitting in these meetings. Don't want to be in this meeting. Got to go. Wrap it up. I want to be in this meeting. Go back in.
Hey, guys, have a good broadcast Saturday.
Thank you, Hoppy.
Thanks, Hop.
And so let's do some on-air planning here.
Okay.
So we're good for Monday then, right?
I think we're good.
If everything goes well, we'll be home by 9 o'clock Saturday night.
I don't know why you would say that.
About 9 o'clock Saturday night. Should be home by then.
Won't be back till Tuesday. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
So we'll be here Monday, and then after that, we'll go next Thursday for the preview of the Utah trip, and then we.
And you might not hear from us till April.
Yeah, we might have to skip that.
Might get a letter from you.
But there's some technology we might want to use. Do it on the
We'll
road.
be checking in live from the Oregon Trail.
I think we might do it on the road. And I think we might be able to do it.
Okay.
All right, we're out. Thanks for being with us. 3 guys brought to us by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They won't take no for an answer. No, 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 no. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By GoMart, get a GoMart rewards card. Go to GoMart.com for details. Just download the app. It's awesome. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By Tutor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way, the 3 guys way with a Tutor's biscuit. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. That'll do it for us. For the man in the middle, Mr. Hop, the senator. We're back again on Monday. Have yourself a great weekend. 3 guys before the game. Out.